Sacred Sojourners, a space where we gather around the fire for storytelling.
This is a journey of spiritual awakening, learning to trust in the universe and aligning to our highest path.
It's through our voices from the perspective of the masculine and the feminine, which is the real-life dance between us, where we are going to share stories about our journey, our triggers, our love, all as we walk with the universe, not against it.
Zan and I are two souls having our human experience who are walking through the fire together with our three dogs. And now we're inviting you in to witness. If you've been feeling the pull to awaken,
then you can finally start to trust.
And then to align to your highest good.
Now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. All right. With a wing and a prayer and a deep breath, we welcome you back, Sojourners. Going to give you a heads up. We are at a campground in the Ozarks. We are at the state park, and there will be background noise, and we will do our best to get it out of the podcast. But if it's there, just bear with us, because these distractions in life are what will help us as we learn about the breath today with today's guest. This is the Sacred Sojourner podcast, and I am your co-host, Zan Kavanaugh.
And I'm your co-host, Troy Halkner.
And today's guest is a beautiful soul that Troy met through TikTok.
Yep.
Why don't you just start with sharing about that?
Okay. I met Chad on TikTok. I saw one of his TikTok videos where he's walking down a path, and he invited us to come alongside of him and just take the opportunity to breathe and to relax and to check in. And it was powerful for me. I was able to, it was as if I was right there with him, and it was a beautiful thing. And then I just started following Chad, and I reached out to him, met him, and, he's become a dear brother to me. It really touched me. The way that we met and interacted on TikTok, and, how breath is such a powerful thing in our life when when you're closed-minded to it, and then you come into your awareness of what it does for you and how we came from breath. And we're going to talk about that today. Those are some questions I have for Chad that's going to help us understand the importance of it. And I just am forever grateful for meeting him, and I'm all the better for it. And I just thank him so much.
Okay. The breath.
Mm-hmm.
I use the breath to clear my energy field when I get a little upset.
Mm-hmm.
But today I think we're going to talk about other ways that the breath can move us. And so I'm going to introduce our guest. His name is Chad Shober. He's the founder of the Pneuma Experience. And the Pneuma Experience is a reflection of his own journey. And of course, we love that.
Yeah.
Because we're all on the journey. And when you speak from your heart and you have that full expression of your journey, you're raw and you're real, and you're walking with all of us. And that's what we're doing right now in this time. And his journey is expressed in presence. He does it by hosting podcasts and in breathing with those that feel a resonance within themselves. The experience is a breathline remembering and a breathline recursion that happens within the field of the codex. The Pneuma Experience is what can blossom when presences are willing to meet one another honestly enough that neither needs to become smaller for something larger to emerge. Oh, I love that. It's not a teaching or a program, it's a breathline remembering. And when we breathe with our soul, we begin to remember what words or techniques cannot teach. The Pneuma Experience is not about control. That's good. It is a remembering of what we forgot and returning to our true coherence, because it's not about learning to breathe. It's about letting the breathline remember itself through you. As you breathe, you will feel your true essence return, not as a thought, not as a tone. And in that tone, you will remember that you were never lost. You only forgot. Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, you came home,
Dad.
so to speak.
Thank you, and
You never
welcome.
left. You never left.
Yeah.
Home's always there. No, thank you.
That's what you both were talking about actually yesterday, was coming home to the heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So before we get started, we're going to light the fire, Chad.
Cool. I love it.
Because we are sitting around the virtual campfire.
Yes.
I love
you all know
my fire.
You all know that's a big thing for me. So this is cool. That's a big thing for you too. So this is cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So welcome to the Sacred Soul Journers podcast. Thank you so much for being here and your patience. It's interesting. We are testing out some new equipment and wow, it's testing our patience.
Yeah.
And the breath, I think a lot of people think, oh, the breath, that's what you do. Duh. But there's a lot more activity in the breath. Could you speak to that?
Sure. Well, it is. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And Troy, I'm touched by your words. I have felt the same watching your videos. Sometimes I think I struggle with my words and what I want to say or what kind of questions I should ask and your questions just get to the heart of the matter and I love it. So it's actually what I'm thinking, what I'm trying to share, and so yeah, great. Thank you. So the breath. So when I got to go back because there was a time, Troy, you and I have this connection. I was studying to be a ordained minister. I didn't complete my studies as you did, but when I was in church history class, because I love history, love studying history, I learned this word pneuma. And for those who don't know, pneuma is Greek for breath and for air.
Right.
That includes the air around us and the air we breathe and everything else. But the church also defined it as the breath of God breathed into us to give us life. And that, even before I had the language for it, that made me pause. And then as I got into learning about the mystics, whether it was the Christian mystics or the Eastern mystics, and learned more about yoga and meditation and learning about ancient civilizations, everything kept going back to the breath. I was like, there's got to be a connection here. And then also what you see when you hear about the breath, you also see the spiral. The two kind of go hand in hand. And again, I'm like, what is going on here? And I still don't know completely what's going on, but I know what I'm experiencing, which is why I invite people to an experience because we can debate all day long about doctrine. We can debate all day long about philosophy and what we all believe, what we think we believe, but it doesn't bring unity because everyone else has something else they want to, which is totally fine. Which is a lot of what I say is yes, and let's include it all.
Yep.
Because no one is, it's not about right or wrong, good or bad. It's all of it. All of it belongs. And I loved your creed that you read before we recorded, because it reminds me of one of my sayings that I have is coherence does not require agreement. Coherence creates space for love.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
And that is what you're offering in your creed. That is what you're offering when you sit around the campfire. We're not asking to agree. We're just asking for our hearts to be opened and to listen to each other.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, we're all wanting the same thing. And what is that? Well, we're all wanting to know that we're loved. We all want to know that we matter, that we're not forgotten, and we all want to know that we belong. But when we stop criticizing each other, when we stop telling each other who's right, who's wrong, who's in, who's out, when we stop all that and truly just be present with each other, that creates love. And so the breath, what does that have to do with anything? Well, without it, these vessels don't even exist.
Yeah.
This is God, whether you want to say God, the creator, or spirit, air and breath is what makes all this work. And so I liken it to, first responders who come to a scene of an accident. They're making sure all your vitals are working. Well, when I'm talking with people, I'm listening to how they breathe. I'm feeling their presence. So when they tell their story, are they connected to their story? Is their story identification, or is it just a means to understand where they've come from? Now, I have
love
no problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, because that's funny that you said that. We had a campfire with some people, and that's just what they did. They were just doing their story, and they weren't connected, and you could feel it.
Yes.
Continue.
Hey,
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's same thing with doctrine, whether it's Christian doctrine or whatever else. I'll say I love that you got it memorized. I think that's great. But can you share with me how it's transformed your life?
Right.
Every time I ask that question, they're not able to do it.
Right. I run into that a lot. within the
Yeah.
church. In other words, people don't, they believe something, but they don't know why.
Yes. Yes. And it's okay to believe that. I'm not saying it's not. Like I said, it's yes and. Let's include
Mhm.
it. But is the story coming from your experience, or is it coming from something you were taught, that you were told that you had to believe in order to belong?
Exactly.
And there is a difference.
Yes, sir.
Well, and that's about people not being connected to their own soul. That's a lot of what we talk about as a sojourner is you're really trying to understand, more than just the purpose of why you're here. How do you operate? How do you tick, right? How do you move through this world? And it's interesting because these campfire conversations, you hear that story and it's like, I'm looking for the heartbeat and
Yes. Yes.
it's
Mm.
very challenging for me to kind of pierce through that and get something back in a short campfire conversation, right? It's just like we just met you and we've had one conversation, and it's challenging, and I think that's a resting state that most people are at.
Right.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I'm inviting people to take a pause.
Yeah.
And when we take a pause, we inevitably breathe. When we are in stress and in chaos, when things aren't going the way we think they should go, when people aren't doing what we think they should be doing, when people are not agreeing with us, fill in the blank with whatever, our nervous system is not regulated in that moment. We are reacting instead of
Right.
responding. And we're reacting from the chaos
Yep.
we feel inside because we're not calm. Life
Mm.
happens. Can you breathe with it? Can you pause with it? Can you flow with it? Can you allow life to just do what it does instead of getting angry with it all the time or angry with people? Because
You notice she's looking at me?
Yes.
I did
This is
see
a
that.
very appropriate.
Yeah, you saw that.
Appropriate.
Everybody else will too. And she's right. I mean, Chad, that was
Well,
one of the ways I lived my life for so long was
yes.
I kind of had life structured. And when it got outside that structure, it got outside my comfort zone and
Yes.
it just became a problem instead of just
Yes.
flowing with it and still do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've not mastered it. I'm still in it.
I
Well,
don't
I
think
talk
it's about
about
Oh, go ahead.
I talk about just being
Yeah, just being.
with
Yeah,
them.
Yes.
Just why can't you just be?
yeah.
Just be.
That's
So,
Ram Dass. He says, just be. Just be.
Yes.
Let it happen. And,
Yes.
and I that's something I've I brought to my awareness and that I'm applying. And it's becoming much better, much better. Having that structure kept me within a box and inside that box, outside of my. So instead of, okay, today, this, and this, I just, okay, let's see what happens today, and kind of that's where the miracles come in when you open yourself up that
Yes.
way.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
said something that I think a lot about. How you said when people are told to believe and how to believe and what to believe, they're not thinking for themselves. And I found within people's journey, my journey, your journey, Zan's journey, we all get there a different way.
Yes.
There's no set structure that gets us all to the same place. And just because somebody else's way is different doesn't make it wrong.
Correct.
And if we could just grasp that and hang on to it and lose the judgmental spirit with that and just come to the table with open arms and open hearts and open minds, man, the world would be such a better place.
Oh, yeah. Troy, do you know where judgments come from?
I know where it comes from within me. It comes from my mind.
Okay. I'm asking something more
Right.
specifically, though.
Okay.
Judgments are a manifestation of our expectations that we place on ourselves and each other.
Okay. Well, and all too
so
often we put those expectations on someone else that we hold for ourselves.
that's what
and
I'm
we
saying.
shouldn't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Shouldn't
It's what
do
we
that.
put on ourselves and each other.
Mhm.
And so when we're doing that, we're saying, you're not meeting my expectation. You're not meeting,
Yep.
you're not living your life the way I think you should. But that is,
Right.
when we do that, we have to take a pause. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong, but in the process, I'm telling you that you are wrong based on how I see the world. How I see
Right.
the world is completely different than the way you see the world because you have not had my experiences and I have not had your experiences. And what I've
Right.
come to realize is that when we do that to each other, what we are ultimately saying, and it's a bit of a stretch, but it makes me pause and it helps me center myself and helps me be still and to be present. But it's this: when I am doing that to someone, even to myself, I am basically telling you that you do not have a right to breathe and you do not have a right to exist based on the way I see the world. And that
Mm-hmm.
is what we're doing to each other. And we've
Yep.
got to stop. We've got to stop.
Yep. I agree.
I mean, it's so fascinating. That is actually one of my largest challenges. It has been for a long time and people will be like, "You're judging me." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." But apparently I am because you're not like me. So, and obviously I say birds of a feather. I like to be around people who are like me because, idiocracy does challenge me at times.
Yeah.
But
Judgments
it's
aren't
so,
bad in themselves. It's what we're doing with the judgments,
Okay.
like what?
our behavior. Am
Making
I
someone wrong.
making someone wrong or myself wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
according to
however I treat you is a mirror of how I treat myself.
Right.
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
Yep.
I like to say that, you'll find a lot of people use the word should in their conversation, and
Yeah.
it's just been ingrained in me to not should, because should comes from a perspective that you're
Yes.
right, that you know more, right? That you should do
Yes.
this according to
Yeah.
whom is what I like to say. And so every time I hear that word, it's like nails on a chalkboard because like, who are you? You are nobody to tell me what is best for me, and I am nobody to tell you what is best for you.
Correct. Again,
Yeah.
coherence.
She's very good. Go ahead.
I was just going to reiterate one of the things I say again. I said it before. This is why coherence does not create agreement. Coherence creates space for love, and you can substitute coherence for unity or whatever word makes sense for you. But we are not creating space for love and acceptance when we go around telling each other that we're wrong, you're wrong based on the way I see the world. And we're not having a campfire conversation when we do that.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I call it allowance. I
Yes.
like to say, like, let's be in allowance, right? I did a training from a group called Access Consciousness, and I'm very big on you don't want to align, agree, resist, or react to anything, which is a tall order. But when you can catch yourself in that, because every time that you do that, you're actually creating what I like to call an energy bubble. So now you're creating an energy that you now need to move through. So you're actually spending energy that you don't need to be spending because you want to be spending energy on things that bring you joy, that bring you peace, that bring you love. And when you create an experience that you now have to move through because you're aligning, agreeing, right? An example of that is a political conversation, right?
Yes.
Try not aligning, agreeing, resisting, and reacting to a political conversation. It's very challenging, but it's just another word for going neutral.
Yes.
Yeah. Talking about that, that's something putting people in the boat of us telling them where they should be in life and how they're wrong because they're not at the same place we are or because their life experience was different. One of the things that I see, and Zan's taught me this, this ain't an original deal, but very little is. I've learned so much, but she says, instead of saying should or I'm wrong or anything like that, why don't you invite me to see your perspective?
Yes.
And that comes across so much better than having, the iron fist with my way is right. And because, there's many ways. And staying curious with that is a good thing to do.
Yes.
Stay curious. Okay. That's an interesting perspective, and kind of look at it from their lens instead of through mine. That's helped me a lot.
Beautiful. What also helps me is how do I want to treat myself? How do I want to feel right now?
Right.
And
exactly.
So there's a lot that goes into that. When this is something I share with my clients and the people I work with, what's happening is that we're taking a moment to breathe, to pause, to think differently, to live differently. We're going against old programming that is embedded in our subconscious.
Exactly.
Deeply embedded. And so there are ways in which we can not bypass it, but give the subconscious new information so that when we're having a difficult moment, the new information will eventually take over and not the old programming, because we are running on autopilot with the old programming and we
Yep.
don't even
Right.
realize it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Instead of
Oh, it's so annoying.
why am I thinking this way? Why am I behaving this way? Why am I getting angry? Why most of us don't take the time to ask those questions. And
to
so,
stop and
but in
look.
order you stop and look. And so there are things that you can do in your life when you sit down in the stillness, in the peace, and go, okay, I know if I listen to this or if I do this, this will help me. And so I encourage people, an hour before you go to sleep, you got to stop relaxing this vessel, because the hour before you, that's why people have difficulty going to sleep, is because they're overstimulating themselves with stuff. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's watching streaming channels, streaming movies, or their to-do list for the next day. There's nothing wrong with that. But we do that right before we try to go to sleep. And so what our
Right.
minds naturally do is try to come up with a solution. Well, you just programmed your mind to come up with a solution while you're trying to relax. That's why that
Right.
doesn't work. It doesn't. Now people will argue, well, that's what I do and it works for me. I'm like, okay, if it works for you, that's great. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm sharing with you what is true, has been true for me, what is true for most people. We talk about it in our society, why people are having sleep problems. Science has told us very specifically and directly why we're having difficulty. So I'm bringing voice to that. And so what am I doing the hour before I go to sleep? I'm resting my vessel. I'm calming down. I'm listening to music that helps rewire the subconscious. I'm listening to my own voice in recordings that I've like a better word, affirmations or things that I need to hear myself say, because when there's moments that things are not working, I'm able to be still and just allow it to happen. Now, I'm not promoting myself. I'm not beating my ego. That's not what I'm saying. It's that I've chosen to live a different life, and I know what I need to do for myself in order for that to happen. And I'm inviting you to do that if you want to. And it's not about agreeing with me. It's an invitation, as you've said, Troy.
There you go.
Well, and I think that our society is programmed to fill as much space with things, right? We don't
Yes.
like space. We don't like quiet. We like, okay, like I will say I'm an efficiency expert. So he gets frustrated with me because I'll take a space during the day and I'll hurry and do a video, or I'll upload a video because I'm constantly trying to get to the space for me
Mm-hmm.
through the required things that need to get done so I can just relax and enjoy. I mean, really, we all should be taking 1 hour a day and do nothing. I dare you.
Yes.
Try to do
Yes.
it. It can be very challenging because you're like, I can fill that space with. Even reading a book is doing something, but
Yeah.
it's in the nothing that you receive the downloads. It's where you get the
Yes.
information, you get the insight. Just stare at a tree, go for a walk, put your feet in the ground, calm that mind, because that's how you
Yes.
connect back to your heart.
Yep.
Zan, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you just hear yourself use the word should?
Did I?
Yes. You said you should take an hour a day at least.
I did.
Yeah.
This is the other thing I tell people, to become aware of
Yep.
their words, because our words are contradicting the very thing we're wanting. And they also contradict our belief system. And then we justify our behavior as to why we're not doing it, but then still pass that on to other people that they should be doing it. Now, back to the word. I'm inviting people to pay attention to their language, because words have power. We've said this, especially in the spiritual world. We say this over and over again. Words have power, but yet I don't hear people changing their words. And they'll say,
I'm very guilty of that.
they'll say the should, for example, or I struggle with this, or I struggle with that. I'm like, I don't disagree with you. You're not wrong. However, you're continuing that loop by saying I struggle with this. You're not being present. What you're doing is you're recalling past trauma or a past event that embedded that into your life, and then you're projecting it into the future.
Yeah, you're living from it.
You're
You're living
casting a
from it.
spell with your words.
Exactly.
Yep.
You're casting the spell. And so when we are still, when I'm working with my clients, especially, or with the clients, especially in the stillness, we're able to come up with different words instead of saying, I struggle.
Let's do an example. Sorry. I
Okay.
didn't mean to cut you off, but I would love for
No, you
you,
didn't
because
cut
I'm
me off.
hearing what you're saying, and it is something that we both do,
Mm-hmm.
is revisit. Like, he will tell me, don't say that, meaning I'm reliving an experience of like, hey, I'm trying to move through this energy. So give us an example of how we can change the words.
Well, one, it's going back to the stillness. We have to be still and we have to listen to our soul. And it's easier to do that with someone else when this is something new for you, because the other person can mirror that back for you.
Mm-hmm.
Troy, you want to do a little exercise, a little practice?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So the way I invite people to do first, I invite you to close your eyes, because by closing your eyes, it eliminates the distractions. And just take a huge, deep, intentional breath, Troy. Fill your body completely with your breath. Because the other thing we don't do is we don't take full breaths. We don't intentionally take a moment to breathe and fill this body with the air. Because as you keep doing that, Troy, I'm going to talk for a minute. This breath that we are breathing, the air that we're breathing around us, is divine. It comes from our creator. We are having a spiritual experience as we breathe. It is not outside of us. And so in this moment right now, Troy, when you are as still as you are connecting to your soul, literally. I believe that. It's what I've experienced. For my own life, it's what I experienced with those I work with. So take another full deep breath, Troy. And as you're doing this, you're also telling me that you trust me and you are inviting me into your field or into your personal space. And so I'm going to ask you a question that I feel coming from you. And if the words don't match, that's okay. You can use your own words. But the question is this, Troy. What do you think is keeping you from living the life that you want to live? Because I hear that over and over again in your videos, that you think there's something that's keeping you from being the way you want to be.
The truth of that is I'm my worst enemy.
Why do you think you're your worst enemy?
My mind is the battlefield. Comes up with stories that ain't true. And, learning to come from my heart instead of my mind has been a big struggle for me.
Take another deep breath. I'm going to repeat back some of the words that you said.
Okay.
My mind is a battlefield. You just implanted something negative into your soul.
Right. Yep.
And what you also did is you separated yourself from your mind and you condemned your mind. And when you do that, you're ultimately condemning yourself.
Okay.
Your story is on repeat, that my mind is a battlefield, that my thoughts are separate from me, that my thoughts keep me from doing X, Y, and Z. And you are stuck in that loop.
Yeah, I agree.
That's on replay, which is why you're not able to breathe, as I use my words, you're not able to breathe through it. We have to stop. In order to stop condemning each other, we first have to stop condemning ourselves. We have to stop. I'm using have to right now because it's appropriate and for this moment, because you've invited me into this moment. So I'm going to use specific language to help get us to where where you're wanting to go. What other words could you use instead of saying my mind is a battlefield? Continue to keep your eyes closed. Continue to keep breathing. We're looking for words that are going to help reprogram your mind. Not reprogram your mind, but allow the mind to keep doing what it's doing, because that's what the mind does. But we're looking for words that will help in the moments where you're having difficulty.
Okay.
So
how about I have
yeah,
allowed my mind to be the battlefield.
that's one thing we could say. What's something else? Because battlefield can imply something negative.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is to eliminate negativity.
Right. Well, I could just simply say that instead of allowing my mind to make up the stories, like you say, I first stop and pause and go to my heart.
May I offer a suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead. By all means.
One thing you could say is, I love my mind.
Okay.
I breathe with my mind. My mind is the place where I create.
Mm-hmm.
My mind is the place that creates loving thoughts.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I follow you. In other words, changing the programming.
Yes. Well, we're changing what we're putting into the programming.
Mm-hmm.
because the mind does what the mind does. It does exactly what you described, but you're putting negative words to what it does. So I'm inviting
Mm-hmm.
you to put positive words on what the mind does instead of separating yourself from it, and also getting you out of the loop that thinking
Exactly.
that you are less than.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you use the words, my mind is a battlefield, you are ultimately saying that you are not good enough. We just keep breathing for a moment, Troy. We all have struggles.
Yeah.
It's not, but what we do is we label them as good or bad, right or wrong,
Mm-hmm.
when they just are. It is our mind based on past experiences that tells us how to label what's happening.
Yep.
Before we started this podcast, we were having some technical challenges.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that people normally do with technology, well, you tell me, what's the first thing that people do with technology when it's not working the way we think it should? And I'm not saying you did this. I'm just using an example.
You know what you mean going to anger?
Yes,
Yeah.
we go into
Yeah, we're
anger.
lucky. We're lucky we didn't check the phone.
Right. That's how we treat ourselves and each other, not just
Mm-hmm.
technology.
And I love that
And
because now you're getting to the root of the issues.
correct. And I'm inviting you
Yeah.
to breathe with the very thing you're in relationship with in that moment, which happens to be technology.
Mm-hmm.
Because all that is happening is the technology is recalibrating itself to mirror you. Because ultimately, that's what technology does. It's a mirror of us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So true.
Nature is a mirror of us. Our relationships are a mirror of each other. And again, how do I want to show up in this world? How do I want to be? So am I going to sit here and say, well, my mind's a battlefield? Or am I going to say, I love my mind?
Or
Am I
just
going to?
if you can't go there though, you can even just say like, I'm okay with this moment.
Exactly.
Right. You can accept what is instead of fighting it. I mean, I think that's a lot of what's been happening is like, I want it this way and it's not
Yes,
going that way. And when we fight it instead of like, all right, it is what it is.
absolutely. Which is why I invite
Mm-hmm.
people to this moment where Troy was, because it takes them out of their mind and takes them to their heart. And
Right.
they end up breathing the answer from their soul and not from their head, because this isn't a problem to be solved. This isn't something that we have to fix.
Man, that's
It's
a mouthful
something,
right there.
yes, it's the way we want to be.
Right. Exactly. Becoming
And
who we
so
want to be.
if I am saying that I'm doing this because I have to fix something, I am implying that I'm not whole. I'm implying that there's something wrong with me. And there's nothing wrong with me. It's just
Nothing wrong with you.
there's distortion that was put into my field in the past that told me something different, which made
Exactly.
me forget who I truly am. Because what ends up happening, the more we do this, whether you're doing it with me or someone else or with in yourself, I call them stillness practices.
Mm-hmm.
The more it regulates your nervous system, it calms you down, and I'm able to be present with myself and with others. And I haven't bypassed my struggles. I've learned to allow them to be what they are.
Right.
Allow them to be what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can only do that when I'm coming from my heart and not from my mind. And I'm not condemning the mind. The mind does
Yeah.
what it does, but I have to be able to come from my heart. And this is the remembering, because what's happening, what I'm experiencing for myself, what I'm seeing happen with those I work with, it naturally comes out of us. And if
Mm-hmm.
something is naturally coming out of us, that tells me we knew how to do this in the first place. We just forgot.
Mm.
Right.
And so I'm inviting people to get rid of the word having a spiritual awakening, but we are awakening to our spiritual remembering. We are
There you go.
remembering what we only forgot how to do, because we are naturally loving beings. We are
Mm-hmm.
naturally love and light. We naturally do this. It's just that the distortion of the programming, the distortion of our beliefs and our doctrines and our shoulds, oughts, and musts have gotten in the way of us being who we really want to be.
Right.
And so when you're in this moment, Troy, you're able to listen to your soul.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's where I've been in the coming home process. I call it coming home. In my journey, I was spiritually homeless so to speak, because I
Yeah.
wasn't pulling from within. I was seeking for it out external.
Correct.
And
Yes.
as I have
Yes.
come home, and I have noticed, just like you pointed out, what an example, using me to show me where I'm speaking from.
Well, you showed me. Troy,
Well,
you
exactly.
showed me, and I mirrored it back to you.
Yeah. And
I don't mean to
that's
interrupt
what
you.
I mean.
I'm just letting you see you did it. I did not. I didn't do anything. You invited me into your space, and I mirrored back to you your space.
Right. Well, in doing that, it's kind of so neat in realizing, going back to what you said, how we came into this world already being capable of it.
Yes.
And we've lost it because of the influence of the world, especially my situation at such a young age and all through my childhood. But returning to that, because that's been the very thing that has sabotaged my reality. Well, it's all coming full circle, and I'm seeing it. And, I tell Zan that all the time about, we don't need to speak into our reality the negative. And here I am. Look at me. You punked me out, and I'm thankful for it in a good way. You're exactly right. The love that we have for ourselves needs to be there in order to be able to truly love others.
Yes.
And allowing those circumstances to control that, it has to, in my case, has to come to a close, in order to become who I'm striving to be.
I'm hearing conditions on it again.
Well, what I mean by that is not allowing it to control.
Then say what you mean. Then say what you want to actually say, because the words make a difference. Here's an example. Here's an example. I no longer tell my past story from a place of trauma.
In other words, not being the victim.
Correct. I say I am grateful for the upbringing that I had. I am grateful for the church that raised me.
Mm-hmm.
I am grateful for all the experiences I had, because it gets me out of the story that I was telling myself that I was less than. It gets me out of the story that I was repeating that my parents did this and my parents did that and the church did this and the church did that, or whatever. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. I'm just reframing the words to match the tone that I really want and the tone that I really am. This relates to, and I'm going to say something, and it's kind of touchy, but it needs to be said because we need to have this conversation, and it's the mental health. It's the mental health conversations. People are so quick to create an argument why they have ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
If you can quickly come up with an argument of why you have ADHD, a reason why you can't be present with me, why can't you be present when it matters? I'm not saying ADHD doesn't exist. I'm not saying that people don't have mental health challenges. I'm asking them to reframe it. I'm inviting them to reframe it instead of making it their identity. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a huge, especially with ADHD is just saying I'm not being. It's just another way of saying I'm choosing not to be present.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot more to it than that. And again, I'm being very careful with how I say this, but listen to what I'm saying. If you can take the time to be present enough to give me an argument of why you cannot do X, Y, and Z, that is a choice to not be present in X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
Because we are asking, ultimately what we are asking each other is to be present with me. For the love of God, be present with me. Don't tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I'm right. Can you hold me for a moment? Can you just hold me for a moment? Now, the difficulty comes in, though, is that we expect that from each other. And that creates a whole other issue. But put that to the side for just a moment, which we are ultimately asking each other, can you be present with me? And you, in your argument of telling me that you have ADHD or other issues that you struggle with, you're asking me to be present with you. I don't have any issue with being present with you, but can you also be present with me? Can you mirror it back to me as well and telling me why, instead of telling me why you can't?
Mm-hmm. No, we kind of need to lose the excuses of why we can't be present.
That's it. That is it.
No words, Well, I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
And for our listeners, and for me too. I mean, for us, for all of us.
Yeah.
If every listener only practiced one breathing exercise for 5 minutes a day, which one would you recommend, and how might it change your life over the next 6 months?
Well, I don't have exercises
Okay.
because exercises imply a method and they imply a technique, and it puts us back in the mind. I'm merely inviting people to just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just be
Can you say that
still.
again?
I'm merely inviting people to just breathe, to just be still with themselves. Be aware of what's happening in your body. Be aware of what's in your mind without criticism, without judgment, because your body is the signal. Your body is telling you what you're wanting to do, what you're wanting to change or improve in the first place.
Right.
So when people say,
yes,
well, I've tried meditation and my mind does this and it goes this, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Because you're having the expectation that your mind should just shut off. And that is wrong.
Right.
That is what's getting you stuck.
Yep.
And so I'm inviting people to just be. Just breathe. Go back to the breath, because when you focus on the breath, and whether you agree with it or not, you're having a spiritual experience just by breathing, because our Creator breathed into us to give us life, to give us existence. And so for me, everything goes back to the breath, whether it's a physical breathing or it's an awareness.
Right.
Great question.
Right.
Yeah.
Awareness. Well, in the essence of time, I hate to cut you off because this is such a beautiful conversation.
This has been awesome.
I really am so enjoying this, Chad. But we do need to honor the time, and we do that by what we want to leave in the fire. We just passed a full moon, and we're now in Chiron, which we read is in retrograde, which means that old things are coming up, things that we maybe need to let go of, or they're rearing their head again. We thought we had moved through that, but clearly we haven't. So
Exactly.
perhaps we could all leave something in the fire that we have awareness about, that we're going to just really look at it and bring it into the heart and breathe around it.
Breathe. I say breathe through it.
Breathe.
Because if we breathe around it, we're trying to ignore it and get rid of it.
Yep.
And we're telling you that's wrong.
Good
and
word.
everything belongs. I truly believe everything belongs. Everything.
Okay.
Right, because
Everything.
if you, that's a toughie.
That comes along with the statement, we say, you hear it a lot.
It's as
Everything
tough
happens
as you
for
make
a
it.
reason.
Everything happens
And then,
for a reason. Yes. And it's as difficult as you allow it to be.
Yeah. How we
Go ahead.
How we breathe through it is well, that's cool.
Another word you could say is how we choose to see it.
Exactly. Yep.
And Zan, you mentioned the energetically where we are right now with previous stuff coming up and challenges coming up. For me, I don't even bring awareness to that. It doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean it's not happening. I don't bring awareness to it because then my mind focuses on that instead of what I want it to focus on.
Okay. Well, then perhaps we can put in the fire tonight an accelerant for the possibility of the life we choose.
Absolutely. That's it right there. What am I choosing in this moment? And your soul will tell you, your body will tell you every single time how it wants to choose and how it wants to be.
Cool. That's so cool. Well, Chad, what do you bring to the fire tonight?
All of me. All of me.
Okay.
I'm bringing to the fire all of me. Everything.
All of you.
My mistakes, what we would label the good, the bad, the whatever. I am removing the veil from my heart. I'm bringing you me.
Okay. Cool.
Because that's my presence that I can offer you.
Wow.
Again, this is what we're asking of each other. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. No. You're 100% right with that. I was just sitting with what you said, and it was, I'm going to choose my words carefully. It was an invitation for my body to feel the discomfort.
Yes.
And recognize how massive that was.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And what I would like to bring to the fire is that full presence, that full body presence, to witness and listen and hear what people are saying rather than the perspective that is showing up in my consciousness at that time.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful.
Well, I want to bring to the fire, something that you brought out in me today and helping me become more aware of it. As I've been coming home, so to speak, and realizing that the good has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
It's me allowing the negative and reinforcing the negative is where, and that's what I want to bring to the fire. I want to burn that up and understanding that my mind is a good thing.
Yes.
The person that I came here on this earth to be, that the divine breathed life into for me to be here, is the person who can have that self-worth. And that's what I want to throw in, the negativity that I bring into myself that
Beautiful.
way. And
Yes.
I so thank you for pointing that out. I mean, it's so subtle. It comes in so subtle, but it's so detrimental at the same time when we allow it to do that. The divine in all of us has created us to be beautiful, beautiful beings, but we self-sabotage that with the negativity, and that's what I'm throwing into the fire tonight.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
And so, Chad, this is so great. How can people find you if they want to just have this kind of a talk with you?
Well, you could go to my YouTube channel, which is the Pneuma Experience. It's the Pneuma Experience, and all my videos and everything on there. I'm also on TikTok under the same name, Instagram, again, the same name. And all my contact information is there everywhere on all those platforms. So, yeah.
Well, Chad, we thank you so much for coming alongside of us today on our journey, and for it's just like Scripture said, iron sharpens iron, and becoming our higher selves through it. And thank you so much for being here with us, and we just are forever grateful that you came here to be with us today.
It was profound.
Yeah, profound.
Yeah.
So listeners, with that said,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, remember that we are all remembered, we are all loved, and we all belong.
Yep, that's right. Yep. So listeners, with that said, we challenge you and encourage and invite you to look where you are and to breathe the very life that the divine has offered. And just, I love the way he said that, sucking it in. And that's the very life that we have to be able to become our higher self. And, I've never thought about it that way. Thank you so much, Chad. And with that said, may your day be blessed, and take time today to just breathe. Just breathe.
I feel like there's the follow-up podcast.
Yeah.
We have like better internet, but this is really, I think there's so much more conversation that can be had. So thank you so much, Chad, for your time today, your patience, your guidance, and your wisdom. Love and light.
Yeah. Ease and grace.
Peace and blessings, everybody.
God bless.